And so Israel and the United States and Saudi Arabia created ISIS. And millions of Syrians are homeless. Thousands of Christians died. Thousands of them died.
Yes.
Churches that went back to the first century were destroyed. Pastors beheaded. Christians crucified. And America's evangelical Christian leaders sat on their butts and did nothing. Never said a word. Never challenged the official narrative. All they did was just make sure that political support was for Israel. And yet Israel was arming ISIS.
Arming, funding, and providing medical support.
All you Christian Zionists, you have blood on your hands. You got blood on your hands, Christian Zionists. You're going to be held accountable for it someday, Judgment Day, if you don't repent. You got blood on your hands, the blood of innocent Christians who were killed by the weapons supplied by your Zionists in Israel. By the way, one final article. President Trump's treatment of the Palestinians is just shameful. It is shameful. Of course, he's preoccupied. He doesn't know what's going on. He's letting his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, run the show. But President Trump cut off all U.S. aid to the Palestinians. He said they will not get any more U.S. aid until they agree to a peace deal with the Israelis. Well, the peace deal with the Israelis is full capitulation and surrender. So, Mr. President, why don't you cut off all U.S. aid to Israel? If that's your strategy, to bring people together, you'll then squeeze the Israelis by cutting off U.S. military aid to Israel.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, be fair.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's right. Tell both sides, no U.S. money until you agree. But that's not what he's doing. They're grinding the Palestinians into the dust. Shameful behavior. Very, very shameful. It's the one thing about the Trump administration that I am deeply offended by. Deeply offended, grieved, and hurt by what President Trump is doing to the Palestinians. Because a lot of those Palestinians are my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
They love Jesus Christ with all their hearts. And they're being abused by the Israelis. And now the power of the U.S. government is helping Israel crush the hope of the Palestinian people. It's shameful. Absolutely shameful. And again, all you Christian Zionists that are participating in it, giving money to John Hagee's Christians United for Israel, you're guilty. You're guilty. You're going to have to stand in front of God someday and give an account for it.
And why? Because Goofy there, they have advocated the removal of those funds. That was one of their top priorities after the embassy.
Just months ago, John Hagee said, we're going to, he basically said, we're going to shut down the UN Refugee Agency.
So which one of those women and children and innocent men that had nothing to do with any of the conflict at all, which one of those are we going to apologize to? Which one of those are we going to say, you don't get any support because you're a political pawn in all of this?
You're trapped in a refugee camp. You've been in a refugee camp your whole life because the Israeli Jews took your land,
right.
And you've been trapped in a refugee camp. Your only food comes from humanitarian refugee assistance like the UN, and now President Trump, at the behest of the Zionists, cuts off all of the food. Where do you get your food now? Where do you get it? You're trapped in a refugee camp.
Absolutely.
And there's no food going to be sent in. Listen, the Jews are getting ready for the final solution of the Palestinian people. They want to eradicate them. I'm telling you, Doc, if they get their way, they're going to eradicate the Palestinians. That's where this is going. I know that sounds extreme, but what they're doing is extreme. If Benjamin Netanyahu got his way, he would eradicate the Palestinian people. The early Zionists said that they had to eradicate the Arabs. That's